I constantly experienced, and other families constantly experience, is there's a lot of turnover with the staff. They leave to go to, they're going to school, they're trying to get better jobs, and as they want to and need to support their families. And the pay that people get to do this work, which is very difficult, is not enough to sustain a family.
Well, he knows how to spend money.
That's a big time spender.
Yeah, he has a payee, so I'm kind of the go-between with him and the payee. Any bills he has, I try to make sure that they get to the payee, and that, or if they don't need to be paid, if they're, it's just a matter of insurance, then I can try to get in there before they send it to collections, which happens.
I came into Mark's life about 7 or 8 years ago, and the family was looking for some job training support, and so we were able to help Mark with a job at Hershey Park and up at Hershey at the headquarters, and he just took off from there. As the years went on, it grew into some habilitation support, some social skills out in the community, learning to cook and do laundry on his own, which eventually evolved into him wanting to move into an apartment of his own.
My job with Cheryl is a HAB-8 and art teacher. And what I do as a HAB-8 is I help Cheryl with things in the outside world, interactions with individuals, problems with friends, just the dynamics of life. I can kind of coach her in some ways is to lessen certain anxieties. For instance, if you say that you're going to do something at a particular time, or if you've made an arrangement, or if you kept a promise, or you're going to have a promise, if you don't keep that promise, it's critical.
This is my snow white dove, and I love to do birds because I feel one with nature and free with nature, and express my emotions when I do art. And I love to make colorful paintings. And this is pastel.
John is 77 years old. He's autistic and he's very active. He likes to move around. He does not speak at all, but he does make noise. And you try to figure out what sound is he making. He will do just about everything you ask him. He understands everything you ask him to do.
John. Here. Here. Thank you.
The challenge of finding suitable living arrangements for adults with autism will be with us for years. To be effective, we must make responsible and informed decisions based on the individual's needs and preferences.
So by the time he was going on 9, and I hadn't slept through the night in about 8 years, it was just time to face his need for round-the-clock care. And that was excruciating. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to wrestle with.
There's 2 places that adults usually live. Some remain at home with parents, but others go into the community and live in some form of group home or residential placement. And it could be a nursing home. A few are in state hospitals.
At about 8 months, Beth started headbanging and started a mild form of self-abuse. And that self-abuse got continually worse over time. When Beth was at her height of self-abuse, we doctored with our family pediatrician when he recommended that we should visit the developmental clinic. We tried to get some help through the public systems, and we were told in kind of in a laughing manner that you got to be kidding, she's far too abusive and far too disruptive for us to do anything with, and we have no program for her. The only thing we can suggest to you is that you place her in a state facility. When Beth went to Polk, it was obviously a very traumatic thing for us and our family. With relatives and friends, we would hear comments like, you know, if it was my child, I would never do that, and things like that. Of course, they were not living with the 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week upheaval in their life that we were living with. From those early days at Polk, when Beth went there and there were 3,200 people, state facilities did not have a great reputation. They were considered to be custodial facilities. And I've seen that evolve over the years to something that's not anything near that today. We've lived through all those changes, and we've seen people who should not have been there be taken out. And what remains at Polk are the difficult cases. In my opinion, it probably is better for those people than life would be in the community.
It is critical that we find the right fit for these individuals. But housing and living in the community is going to be a challenge all through life. It's just something that won't go away. It's there. Something as simple, believe it or not, as paying the light bill or getting a phone hooked up.
I feel this place has given me a new lease on life. It's made a new man out of me. And it's turned my life around for the better.
When this group matures, this group that's been diagnosed in the last 10 years, and now comes into the community, it's going to put just an unbelievable strain on an already strained situation. We need in the community then to be a lot more receptive to people who have different needs, may have different behaviors than we're used to, and so it's kind of a double-sided endeavor here. The autism boom is going to change society.
People on the spectrum who would love to live in the city, they're used to the city, there should be city living options. There's others, they're growing up around Hershey or in Adams County, and the city would terrify them and they'd be overstimulated. They need community living options near where they are.
It is very important for us to know or understand that somebody on the spectrum has the same wishes, hopes, and dreams that we have.
Now, this is indeed a legislative issue that we do need to look, how do we better support? What services do need to be there? How do we fund the services for these individuals? But it's also a systems issue. We really need to, within the field of special education and applied behavior analysis, one of the instructional components of good special education, we need to get much better at what we're doing in terms of transition planning. We need to make sure that when kids graduate, they do have a set of skills that will work for them post-21. Okay? It's not enough to just be able to do a math worksheet, okay, if you can't cross the road.
It was always the case that services were hard to access, and with autism, some kids are functioning in a large percentage within the range of mental retardation, but increasingly, there's more children being diagnosed that function beyond that range.